Hey, what's going on, you guys? It's Aces High. I'm bringing you guys another reaction. So this one is going to be from Epic History TV. You know them because we watched the Alexander the Great series. We've watched a couple off videos, and of course we've watched the entire Napoleonic series and Napoleon's Marshals. Fantastic channel. Seriously, I cannot stress this enough. Go check them out. You'll love it. But today we're going to be watching another off video. So this one was actually suggested by one of my oldest viewers and one of my first subscribers, LightX Heaven. Seriously, awesome dude. Has helped me with tons of comments, answered tons of questions. I really do appreciate it. So this one's going to be called How to Build the Perfect Castle. If you guys are new to the channel, make sure you hit that sub button. Make sure you hit that like button. Leave me a comment with what you want to watch. And I promise I'll get to it as soon as I can, okay? For those of you that have been asking about the Dutch Wars of Independence, that will be coming within the next few days. I was planning it today or tomorrow, but I might push it back just a couple days. But it is coming in one of the next off videos, I promise. And for those of you that are looking for a little bit more Al Murray, dude, I'm all about that. I laughed my ass off. I thought it was a blast. So we're gonna be watching more of that tomorrow. All right, well, hope you guys enjoy this. Let's check it out.
In Europe's Middle Ages, castles dominated not just warfare, but society itself. Strongholds are as old as war, but the medieval castle was unique. A refuge and a projection of military force, a lordly residence and symbol of power, a centre of justice and government. Today, castle ruins are found from the Atlantic coast to the hills of Syria. Dramatic and poignant reminders of a lost feudal world. There was no single blueprint for the castle.
Interestingly enough, I mean, there's not, Europe is full of castles, things like that, and different places around the world have their versions of, I guess not castles, but, just older temples and ruins and things like that. But, as odd as this is going to sound, the first castle that I ever learned the name of, being an American, being not European, not surrounded by castles, was actually the Neuschwanstein in, I believe that was actually one of Mad King Louis's castles. Anyway, as funny as it is, my dad told me about it because he's part German, so he knows the story of it and everything. But when we went to Disneyland in California, he was telling me that Cinderella's castle, the entrance to Disneyland, is based off of the Neuschwanstein. So that was the first one that I learned about.
Every one was unique. But by analysing key trends over 4 centuries, Epic History TV is proud to present its guide to building the perfect castle. The medieval castle was the product of a feudal world, a world we'll explore with help from our video sponsor, Crusader Kings 3, using the...
That actually looks like a pretty cool game, but I'm going to go ahead and skip ahead on this.
Experience the challenge of feudal lordship for yourself. We can recommend Crusader. Task is to guide your chosen dynasty to power, wealth.
Here we go. So I love to read the quotes. So it says, forts are either fortified by nature or by human hand, or by both, which is considered stronger. Okay, yeah, fair enough. That's actually a very good point. You should not only make a wall for yourself, but use the nature and use everything around you to help work together,
When building a new castle, the first and most important consideration is location. A castle should dominate the landscape, with good views in all directions, so hills are ideal. Steep slopes and river bends can be used to limit approach routes, making the site easier to defend. And for building work, a local source of stone, wood and soil is essential, as transporting these materials over medieval roads is more expensive than the materials themselves. There must also be a secure local source of fresh water and food to sustain the castle's occupants.
course, you have to make sure you have a stockpile of it. That way that if you're, being besieged or something, you have enough food to last, enough food and water.
A reliable starter castle is the Motte-and-bailey, popular with the Normans, who built hundreds across England and Wales during the Norman conquest. The motte is a mound, either natural or built by hand, as seen here in the Bayeux tapestry. It's not just a pile of mud, though. These coloured bands are thought to represent alternating layers of stone and clay, which will increase stability. Sometimes they even used stone or timber foundations. A typical motte is 8 metres high and up to 50 metres across. Its top can be defended by a simple wooden palisade and a tower, living quarters for the lord and his entourage, and last refuge in case of attack.
Okay.
An earth ditch and palisade should enclose the bailey to protect important buildings such as a hall, stables, kitchen, stores, and a forge. Timber palisades are vulnerable to fire and rot, so will ideally be replaced by an enclosing stone wall, known as a curtain wall, as soon as possible.
You know what all this makes me want to do? This makes me want to play a game like, what was that, Crusader 3 or something? Or like back in the day, I'd play Stronghold a lot, and I had a blast with that, building my castles, conquering, just everything. By the way, for those of you that I'm sure you've noticed, with my green screen and everything over here, I'm working on it, I promise. You can see, it's kind of fuzzy a little bit and a little too green, and just, it's not perfect. Just picked it up, and I thought it'd be kind of fun to mess around with, but I'm definitely working on it. I'll get it perfected by the next video, hopefully. But yeah, anyway, I'll shut up. Let's get back to it.
This creates the enceinte, or main defensive enclosure. A curtain wall should have crenellations to protect soldiers of the garrison during an attack, as they shoot their bows or crossbows at the enemy.
I didn't know that's what they were called. I just kind of... It's going to sound stupid, but I always just kind of called them the top of the castle wall things, the little, like, up and down things. I had no idea what they were called.
A concealed postern gate, or sally port, can be used during a siege to smuggle messages in and out of the castle, or to launch surprise attacks on the enemy.
That's actually a great idea.
In parts of France, such as Anjou and Poitou, castle builders ignored the Motte-and-bailey approach and constructed strong stone towers.
Oh, wow.
In French, it's called a donjon, the origin of the word dungeon. In England, it's known as the keep. A keep offers better security and accommodation than a wooden tower. But if you try to build one on top of a motte, its weight will cause it to collapse. Some opt for a compromise, a shell keep, which keeps the motte and replaces its wooden palisade with a circular stone wall.
Okay.
But a truly imposing keep will have to be built from scratch on carefully prepared foundations.
That view just a second ago, let me go back to that.
On carefully prepared foundations.
Here, just shows you how important it is to get up high and get up onto a hill. I mean, look at how much more you can see from how high we are. I know we're higher than the castle right now, but even just on the castle wall compared to like down here or down the valley or something, you could see so much farther. You could see if people, enemies are coming.
A typical early stone keep is rectangular, between 2 and 4 stories high, with walls up to 6 meters thick.
Wow.
Construction might take up to 10 years.
The walls are really up to 6 meters thick. Is that typical? What was the typical wall thickness? Because, 6 meters, 6 yards is 18 feet, so 6 meters, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So we're looking at 20 feet. Yeah. Jeez. That's incredible. That's like if you took 2 stories of a typical house And the height of 2 stories on average 10 feet once you calculate in the space in between and blah blah blah. You know, I mean it's 8 feet, but just for quick math, a lot of people say 10. So about a 2 story house, basically, you're looking at about 20 feet, and then flip that on its side. That's a thick wall.
Years and cost a fortune, so large keeps are only built by monarchs and powerful nobles. The biggest keeps have towers at each corner. Within there might be a hall for meals and entertainment, private apartments, a chapel, and storerooms.
Okay.
A forebuilding creates an impressive and well-guarded entrance, which should be at first floor level, accessed by a wooden staircase which can be removed in case of attack. If the keep has a cellar, this is an ideal space to store extra provisions, not for chaining up prisoners in the dungeons of popular imagination. Early keeps are square or rectangular, but later come in many shapes and sizes. King Philippe Augustus of France was particularly fond of circular keeps.
Okay.
Perhaps the most eye-catching of all is Castel del Monte in southern Italy.
Look at that. It's got like, God, what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's either 8 or 10. It's kind of hard to tell from this angle. Probably 8, just because there's 8 towers. They're probably in each corner. But it's an octagon. How cool is that? With a tower on every point, like every corner.
Built by Emperor Frederick II. Its
really
elaborate
cool.
polygonal structure reminds us that the perfect castle must be elegant as well as formidable.
Towers are to project forward so that when the enemy approaches, they may be wounded by missiles from the towers. Okay, makes sense. So you can shoot at them earlier before they... so you can shoot at them when they're farther away from your wall and you have more time to hit them.
The curtain wall should be strengthened by flanking towers at regular intervals. These project forward from the wall, so archers can shoot at attacking enemies with enfilade fire, or put another way, attackers will come under fire from the wall ahead of them, as well as from towers to the right and left.
Okay.
Square towers offer large amounts of extra space for living quarters and storage, but their corners are a weak point that can be targeted by enemy stone-throwing artillery, such as a trebuchet. So round towers may be a better option.
Okay, very cool.
The choice is often one of taste, fashion, and/or cost. Square towers,
They're probably
round
cheaper.
towers,
Those are more expensive.
and D-shaped towers
Oh, that's
were
kinda
all
cool.
common across Europe, and many castles feature a mix of types. In some places it was
What is this? So we got D-shaped towers here. Oh, I thought they'd be showing me a mix of them. I don't really see any other ones. I guess maybe this used to be a square tower, possibly.
possible
It's
to
tough to
cut
tell.
costs by reusing old Roman fortifications, as at Pevensey and Portchester on England's south coast. Here the Normans simply built a stone keep within the walls of an old Roman shore fort, saving time, labour and money. Loopholes, or arrow slits, are important additions for any tower or wall section. The earliest versions are simple vertical slits, but from the 14th century, more decorative cross shapes are common. In the event of a siege, wooden hoardings, sometimes called brattice work, can be built out over the walls to allow the garrison to rain boiling water and rocks onto the attacking enemy.
I know I've seen that. I haven't seen them where they build out over the walls in the games I've been playing. I've seen where they'll take boiling oil and things like that and dump it over the wall onto them as the laddermen try to come up. Huh.
The obvious focus for an attack is the castle's main gate, So its defences, known as the Gatehouse, must be especially strong. The ideal solution is to add towers on each side of the gateway, to add an outer and inner gate, and at least one, if not several, portcullises. These metal lattice gates can be dropped vertically to trap attackers in a kill zone. The garrison can then use murder holes in the ceiling and walls to finish off the intruders. The main gate can be further protected by a drawbridge over the outer moat or ditch, which can be raised by chains as an enemy approaches. Through the Middle Ages, gatehouses became increasingly powerful, with multiple drawbridges, gates, and portcullises. The approach covered by looming towers, and every wall and ceiling studded with loopholes and murder holes. Some of the most...
Could you imagine being, you're running in, you're charging in, you make it across the bridge, and then a gate drops behind you, and then a gate drops in front of you, and suddenly now you're being shot down through all those tiny little holes, just destroyed, being murdered? I mean, oh my god. You're just being slaughtered.
Formidable gatehouses are found in the castles built by Edward I to subdue Wales.
Wasn't his nickname Edward the Elder, right? So he was, I guess first king of England. Wasn't he the king that united Wessex, Northumbria, East Anglia, and what was the last one? Mercia. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought it was him. Because there's Alfred the Great right before him. Or what, 2 people before him, I think? And I thought Edward the Elder was the first king of England. I might be wrong, though. It might be his father. But I thought it was him.
In the late 13th century. Such imposing wall defences began to make a massive keep seem superfluous. So many of these castles were built without a keep at all. Our castle is now an imposing fortress, able to withstand a siege of several months, if properly provisioned. But to be considered truly epic, a castle should have a second curtain wall, enclosing an outer bailey, with its own towers and gatehouse.
That is just absolutely terrifying. I mean, everything he just talked about. You've got your keep, you've got it raised off the ground, you've got to pull away stairs that can be broken up or whatever so they can't get in as easily. You've got square towers, you're on the hill, you've got a very strong gatehouse, round towers here. The only thing you're missing is a drawbridge of some sort, but then you've got your outer curtain wall as well. Like, I wouldn't want to attack that. That's terrifying.
Gatehouses should be positioned at angles to the approach route, so any attacker has to twist and turn, rather than make a direct rush at the gate.
True.
Towers and walls should now feature stone machicolations for dropping rocks on the enemy, far more sophisticated than temporary wooden hoardings. The new outer bailey, or ward, allows more buildings to be brought within the castle's defences, not forgetting that a medieval castle is as much a residence as fortification.
True.
Perhaps a new, grander hall for entertaining your household and important guests, kitchen gardens, and extra living quarters. The outer ditch or moat can be flooded with water to create an extra layer of defense.
Okay, there it is. So that's when they're going to add the drawbridge in. Makes sense.
A water moat also has decorative value and can be a source of fresh fish. A final flourish, a barbican, an outlying fortification that adds yet another layer of defense to the main entrance.
Oh wow.
This is now a fine and formidable example of a concentric castle.
I wonder what's going on here. Is this just so that it doesn't erode away this way, I guess? That's why they have the extra wall, because they have it on the other side too, in basically the same spot. Huh.
Its design will force any attacker to overcome successive layers of strong defense to reach the final refuge, the keep. If properly garrisoned and supplied, a castle like this was virtually impregnable until the age of gunpowder.
That's cool.
As we have seen, there was no single blueprint for the medieval castle. Each was built...
How did they stop erosion around there? Was it built up with rocks, or they put the bricks down lower in the ground so the water didn't actually erode away the ground underneath it, or what happened there?
to take advantage of the landscape, to incorporate the latest military thinking, and reflect regional styles and personal taste.
That's a cool one in Bohemia. Very, very cool. I like it.
The most awe-inspiring examples from the castle's golden age include Crac des Chevaliers, the supposedly impregnable crusader fortress of the Knights Hospitaller.
Huh.
Dover Castle, known as the Key to England.
It was really that strong of a castle?
And Malbork Castle, the gigantic brick-built headquarters of the Teutonic Knights. By the 15th century, the castle's role was in steep decline, in part due to the rise of gunpowder weapons, such as cannon.
Right.
But more fundamentally because the feudal world that gave rise to the castle had fallen away, to be replaced by professionalized armies and centralized royal authority. As the age of powerful feudal lords ended, so too did the age of the castle.
Okay.
Most would ultimately slide into ruin, their military role replaced by artillery forts, their residential role taken over by palaces and stately homes, as the age of the castle
There it is.
gave way to the age of the chateau. Thanks again.
Huh. That was actually really interesting. It was cool to see how the different parts all work together, how you could have the perfect castle. What do you guys think? What do you think that he missed? What do you think that they didn't miss? I mean, what do you think they hit right on the spot? Like, let me know, for real. I hope you guys dug it, and thanks again, LightX7, man. Like, you're awesome. Seriously, stick around. Love you. Till next time, this is Ace I promise I'll fix my green screen. And I'm out.